Okay, let's set the stage. The lights are dim. It's around maybe 7:00 p.m. There is no COVID and you are at your yoga studio practicing. You decided to take a hot class tonight and you're in a long Warrior 2 hold where your thighs feel like jelly. And your teacher softly says, just let it go. And you think as a student, how on earth do I do this? How do I let it go? What am I letting go exactly? I know I got some baggage, some stuff holding me back. Is that what she's talking about? Is that what he's talking about? But I don't really know how to do that in this posture right now. This is Aparigraha, the 5th Yama. Let's dive in. So you've been to a few or maybe many yoga classes and you are hooked. Somehow you feel better, kinder, more connected to yourself and those around you. Your friends view you as a hippie now, and your parents, well, they think it's a phase. Regardless, when you are on your mat, you are home. Yoga teachers and students, come learn how yoga can help you navigate the daily grind, breakups, your anxiety from a place of clarity and compassion. Welcome to the Modern Yogi Podcast, hosted by me, Laura Siljander. Misfits, earthlings, yogis, take a deep breath, check in to see how you're doing, body, mind, and soul, because you have arrived. Okay, my honeys, welcome back to the Modern Yogi Podcast. Before we dive in, can I talk to you about something? I set up an interview for Black Lives Matter movement. Aren't you stoked? It's questions about how can we live our yoga off the mat to support this movement. And I've got a ton of other questions too. If you have any questions that you would like included on the interview, you can DM me on Instagram. You can go to my website. On the bottom of each page, it says get in touch with me. If you have questions that you are wanting to ask, please send them my way. If they're appropriate, if they're awesome, I'll put them in there. I'll slide them in there. So feel free to do that. That's coming. Now, we are going to be covering the very last Yama of the 8 limbs of yoga from Patanjali. And the Black Lives Matter interview is going to be the one next week. So after our Yamas and before the next limb of yoga. And again, reach out to me if you have any questions like you would like me to ask. All right. We're at the last Yama. There were 5 of them. And so let's just do a nice little review here. So there was a guy or a group of guys, we're not sure, named Patanjali. Patanjali wrote the Yoga Sutras. Out of the Yoga Sutras came the 8 limbs of yoga. The first 2 limbs, the one that we're going to complete today, Yama and Niyamas, that's sort of like yogi lifestyle, how to live. The others are asana, which is the movement, which we're most familiar with usually in the West. And then you've got your breathing, your pranayama. And then you have these 4 levels of consciousness or 4 levels of meditation. And we're going to get into those as well. But that's a quick little overview. We're in the yamas right now, finishing that up today. The yamas are known as regulations, behaviors that we regulate. And we started with ahimsa, so non-harming and compassion. Then we went to satya, your truth and living your truth. Asteya, not living from that place of scarcity and not stealing, but it's even deeper than that. And we just finished brahmacharya, which is about celibacy, sort of, moderation, sort of, sex, sort of, those different things that can get in the way of your yogic journey. And now we're going to finish on aparigraha. This you're going to look at in a few ways, of course. You know how I like to deliver this in multiple ways, but you're going to see a lot of different things that aparigraha has been defined as. You'll see non-attachment, you'll see non-hoarding, you'll see generosity without jealousy. So again, non-attachment, non-hoarding, or generosity without jealousy. Let's dive in. I'm excited. So this is a really multifaceted yama. Okay, they all are. Who am I kidding? These are very multifaceted yamas. You go into something, it's like, oh, satya, truth, like tell the truth. Well, yes, but it's more. So yes, aparigraha is non-attachment, non-hoarding, but it's more. And where I'd like to begin is your possessions, our stuff. Y'all, we have so much stuff, and I'm not going to rag on you about getting rid of all of your stuff, but I want to talk about just our possessions, our stuff. So if you're in college, you'll get a job eventually unless you have a part-time job. If you're already in the work field, you use the funds from your job to support your living, such as a place to live, clothes, trips, food, whatever you spend your money on. Maybe furnishings for your home, maybe gear if you like to surf or bike. You go to work so you can make a living and put clothes on your back, put food on the table, and have a safe place to live. And then we get excited about the clothes and we get excited about the fancy cars and all the things. So we have our stuff. So Aparigraha teaches us to accumulate enough, just enough of what you need, and to rid yourself of the excess. You own your possessions, not your possessions owning you. Now, having an excess of things, because it's also non-hoarding, garages that we don't park cars in because our stuff's in there. And then we have an extra storage unit. Now, please know that I am not telling you to go minimalist, and I'm not perfect in this realm either. But we've got a lot of stuff. And I did a podcast about this. It's called Money Honey Round 1. We spend our lives working. We put all this energy into getting to work, well, before COVID, getting ready for work, getting to work, working, making sure you have lunch plans or lunch packed and enough of this and that. We spend a lot of time getting back from work and then stressing about work. And I'm not saying work is bad, and this is not for all of us, but we spend so much of our life energy on working, so much of it. And so that's why when we spend all this time working and then we accumulate these possessions that we think will bring us happiness, which some of them do and some of them we forget about. You know, like on a Friday before COVID, when you've had a long week and you're like, I'm just going to go to Target. I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to buy this candle. This candle smells so good. This candle is going to bring me so much peace and calm. I'm going to light it up tonight after I'm done eating dinner, and it's going to be awesome. It'll be the perfect ambiance. Well, let's say you get home, you have your dinner, you light up your candle, it smells delicious, and then the candle collects dust. And then it gets pushed into a closet to be forgotten. And then we do this with a lot of stuff, especially clothing. If you look at your closets and some of you are like, well, I wore that like a few months ago. I wore that like a year ago. What if I have a wedding next year? I could wear this too. We do this with so much stuff. I do it too, but our Aparigraha practice asks us to not allow our possessions to own us. A way I can talk about this in a personal way is my wife and I bought the house with the yard, with the fence, with the lawn, with the garden, with the stuff, the attached garage. And I started to feel, the first year I was like, this is sexy. It was kind of sexy, cutting the lawn, doing the gardening, painting, buying little things for the house. It was fun. It was kind of sexy. And then that quickly wore off, that little honeymoon phase. And I was like, I can't go surf this weekend because I have to do house chores. I can't go see my friends because I have to finish up this house thing. I need to mow the lawn. The garden needs to be weeded. Oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z for the house. And I just felt like this house started to own us. We couldn't go do the things that we wanted to do because we were too busy fixing up the house, cleaning the house, doing stuff for the house, caring for the stuff that we bought in the house. And it started to own me, and it started to own us. And I mean, we did an extreme thing where we sold a lot of our stuff and we sold the house and moved to a 500 square foot apartment. I know that sounds really extreme, but I wanted that lifestyle. That was my Aparigraha practice. That was my truth to do this. It was my non-hoarding and my non-attachment to my stuff, not allowing my house and all the possessions inside to own me. So I don't know if you have anything like that. I don't know if a certain payment, like a car payment, is making you work just so you can afford the car sitting in your driveway. It's stuff like that Aparigraha is asking you, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is your life energy worth that item that's maybe holding you hostage? Why is it that you need that really, really nice Jeep Wrangler? Why is that? That's what Aparigraha is asking us. Because man, Jeep Wranglers are really pretty and they're gorgeous to look at and they're fun to drive and they're fun to ride and they're sexy. But if you're stressing out, how am I going to make my car payment for that sexy item in the driveway? If you say, no, it's worth it. That stress and my life energy is worth that car in the driveway. Well, then that's your Aparigraha practice. It's not for me to tell you if it's worth it. It's for you to tell you if it's worth it. Gosh, and people thought yoga was just postures. Okay, so another way to look at this practice of Aparigraha is, y'all, we see about 4,000 advertisements per per day. Isn't that wild? 4,000 advertisements per day. And again, I didn't believe it. And then I started to, I would go play my little Tetris game at the end of the day, and I would see all the ads on the side, and I'd be like, oh, I really like those shoes. And I'm like, oh, whoops. What about the stickers on your water bottle? What about the brand on your t-shirt? The other day, I was reading my book, Loving Life, and I looked up into the sky, and I saw an airplane holding a Geico insurance flag. And I'm like, daggone it, can't even read my book outside without seeing something like this. 4,000 advertisements a day. The American way of keeping up with your neighbor or the people in your friend group with the nicer cars and the better clothes. This is what our culture tells us we're going to be happy if we do these things, if we buy these things. We are bombarded by these advertisements. I've said this before. You can't even take a pee in public without an advertisement being on the stall door. I guess if you're a guy, they would probably put the advertisement above the urinal or something. But for chicks, they have it on the door. I feel like we're set up for failure in this way, y'all. Unless we look at it and we're like, oh, I see what you're doing to me. No, I won't give in. I know this is one of the 4,000 I'm going to see. Or this idea of I need to keep up with the appearance of my friend group, which is a lot of pressure, a lot of money, a lot of life energy. What if we actually realize that we have most of the things that we need? And that's when gratitude comes into play. So the first one is not letting your possessions own you. Second one is practicing gratitude for what you got, what you have. It's okay to get stuff. I'm not saying it's the worst, but to pause and say, do I actually need this? Do I actually need this thing? Or maybe you do some summer cleaning. Some spring cleaning, fall cleaning, winter cleaning, kind of looking at that closet and donating what you can, things like that. Is there a way that your possessions, your life energy, this comparison game we play, this game in the West that we play of having the nicer, bigger house, nicer things, nicer clothes, this little game, this little hamster wheel that we're on, our Aparigraha practice, our yoga practice says, please look at this. Please look at this. And what is your satya here? And what is your truth? It's not going to be what I say. That's not your satya. It's what you think about it. Why do you drive the car that you're driving or wear the clothes that you're wearing? Why do you behave the way you behave? Is it your truth? Practicing gratitude for what we have, which sounds really boring. It does. Wouldn't you much rather go out and buy something new and shiny and pretty and you get that hit of ooh, new thing, rather than I am grateful for the old candle that I have in the back of my closet. Aparigraha asks you to look at this. There's another way I want to bring up Aparigraha, and this is where you're going to start to see that mental health training I have. But man, when I do an Aparigraha theme in a yoga class, it is really powerful. So if you're a yoga teacher, you need a theme, feel free to use this. Learning to let go of unwanted core beliefs. Learning to let go of unwanted core beliefs. Perhaps this is what our yoga teachers are telling us when they say to just let go. I think they're asking us to let go of these nasty internal dialogues that are on a loop. Of you're not strong enough to hold this warrior too. Or gosh, I'm so tired. I had such a long week. This week sucked. Why am I in this hot room holding this warrior too? But let's talk about core beliefs if you don't mind. I spend a substantial part of my time with my clients on core beliefs. So I want to share this with you. What is the core belief? It is a deep-seated beliefs that we have about ourselves and our environment. I mean our environment as people in it that we know, we don't know, experiences that we go through in this life, even driving down to the grocery store, that's part of your environment. So these deep-seated beliefs we have about ourselves and our environment. We are typically unaware of them, so we typically don't know they're happening. And some are good, and some derail us. They derail us from making close friends. They can derail us by not going after that job promotion. It can derail you from not asking that person out. It can derail you of not thinking that you're good enough, smart enough, pretty enough. Some examples of what a core belief could be, this message that we tell ourselves in our head that we're not quite aware of, are, here's a good one, I have something to offer the world. That's a good one. That's when I'm like, hey, let's build on that. I have something to offer the world. If you're already cringing when I say that, your core belief may be the opposite of that. Here's one that can derail you. Life doesn't work out for me. Life just doesn't work out for me. Never have, probably never will. Another one could be, I am smart enough to go to college. Another one could be, this world is full of assholes. Or, I don't feel safe with people. I am worthy of love. That could be one. What I say doesn't matter, so I won't say anything at all. I won't speak up. That could definitely be one. Our mind is on a constant loop of our core beliefs. Typically, these beliefs are adopted as children through youth ages, and we actually reinforce them as adults. Again, our lens on our world can be shaped on these core beliefs. So maybe some of you hold back from trusting people or hold back from fully diving into relationships. Some of you may hold back from sharing your thoughts or some of those other examples we talked about. I feel like a core belief could be a sister or a brother to your ego, and I also have an episode on that. But these core beliefs, it's these little shitty things we tell ourselves, and then we live them out. And then there are also these beautiful things we tell ourselves, and we live that out. So it's good, and it can derail you. I'm not strong enough to hold this warrior too. Maybe that I'm not strong enough came from a different voice. Maybe it came from, and I'll just give some examples here of what I've heard from either myself or my clients are, I tried really hard to be a good athlete. I'm not that great of an athlete. And I was usually picked last in the school because they said I was puny and wimpy. And so I'm not really strong. I'm just not strong. I'm not athletic. So I'm not going to go to yoga because it's too athletic for me. I can't touch my toes. I'm not flexible. I can't hold a chaturanga. No, not going. That core belief of I'm not strong enough maybe takes that person, they don't try something that could really help them. We all have these core beliefs, for better or for worse. For better or for worse, we've got them. And usually they come from when we're kiddos into our youth. And as adults, we reinforce them. I know I'm being redundant. As a teacher, I know that's how my students learn. Some core beliefs it's like your girlfriend, or this could be you, making the same mistake with guys every time. Or if she's gay, she's making the same mistake with chicks every time. It's like she dates the same person every time. You're like, why won't you learn? And as her girlfriend, you're like, come on, you can do better. We've all been there. And it could be because perhaps she was told that she's not worthy of love. Or at some point in her life, a core belief said, I am not worthy of love. I will take what I can get. That's a core belief. And that can get you into some heartache and some pain. Let's talk about how we can identify them maybe and how we can get over them. To start picking up on your core beliefs, one must slow down enough to notice what your internal environment is like, your self-talk, how you talk to yourself, how you narrate this life that you're living. Sometimes you have to do this with a mental health person. If you've been practicing yoga for a while, you are used to tuning in a little bit more. So you do have an advantage here, maybe being a little bit more mindful because you've engaged in a lot more mindful movement. So start to notice your self-talk, the way you talk to yourself when you look in the mirror, when you're getting ready to go somewhere, maybe how you view people in the grocery store line. And then you ask yourself, why on earth am I thinking this? Is this true? Is this a voice of something or someone else? What is this voice in the mirror telling me that I should look a different way? What is this voice saying that person's outfit sucks? She is being stupid. That's another way to say, oh, okay, what's going on here? What's happening inside of me? Why am I saying that? Maybe that person is acting ridiculous, but where's that coming from? Because then you need to analyze these core beliefs. And that's the question of why, where is this coming from? Is this mine? Is this my voice in my head? Or is this my parent saying me that this is what a proper lady should look like? And you go, whoa, that's a voice of a parent. That's not my voice. Is that my truth? There are some of these core beliefs that you may be aware of. A core belief that I thought was a religious one, actually. We were Christians, and my core beliefs were, if you don't follow the Bible, you're going to hell if you don't repent for your sins. And then I grew up and I go, well, that person's going to hell and that person's going to hell and I'm going to hell. Are we all going to hell? It was a core belief that if you don't follow the Bible and repent, you're going to hell. I think that's where we work it out on our yoga mat. I think maybe that's what certain teachers are trying to teach us, is to let go of that negative loop that you can't do it for whatever reason you come up with, or something that's holding you back, something that's causing you to have weight. You know, the whole keep what serves you and let go what doesn't serve you? I think that also goes on with this. Aparigraha, core beliefs. What thoughts are serving me? What aren't? I really want to release myself of those. What are these core beliefs? Why do I believe them? Are they mine? Do I want to keep them? No. All right, well, it's time to start thinking differently. A place on your mat is such a safe place to do that. To say, no, my 2 feet, my legs are strong enough to hold me up. I'm going to hold this for 3 more breaths. And if I need to take a break, then I will. And if I feel guilty about taking a break because I'm known to be this really advanced yogi, I need to analyze that. Is there a core belief coming up here? Is there a story in my head that my ego is telling me about, a narrative about how much I suck because I actually do need to take a break in my warrior too? Those are core beliefs and the ego. Again, brother and sister, or sister and sister, whatever, closely related. Another way, so many ways. I guess I love Aparigraha. The last way that you can also practice this on your mat is, you know that feeling of when you first did an arm balance, you did crow for the first time and you were really working on it and you finally nailed crow pose. You're like, I don't know what crow pose is. It's an arm balance. You're pretty much holding up your whole body weight with your arms. It's pretty cool. And you get stoked on that. But then it starts just like, okay, well now I want to get crane pose. I want straight arms holding me up. So you become striving mind, this striving mentality. And that striving mentality can kind of blur the meaning or cloud up the meaning of practicing Aparigraha on the mat. I'm talking to you, power yogis. Power only yogis who never want to do anything else. I was one of them for sure. Trying to let your body move in a natural way instead of pushing your body. That's kind of that balance I was just talking to you about. You're in a warrior 2 hold. It's hot. Your legs are burning and your legs are saying, I think I need a little bit more today. I think this is what I need. I think I need to tap into my tapas and burn off whatever's going on here so I can feel better. Or are you just doing it because you're known to be a very experienced yogi and you don't want to let anyone around you down? Now that is when Aparigraha is not really being practiced here. Does that make sense? Some days you need to hold it and you need to hold it and hold it and hold it so you can kind of release whatever happened to you that day. Maybe you got some pent up anger and you're like, I need to get it out. I'm going to hold this warrior 2. And other days you're like, I'm just exhausted. And maybe I'm going to come out of this warrior 2 and take a forward fold and try not to feel guilty about this. That could be a way you could practice that non-striving, that non-attachment to these postures on your mat. That's another way. Now, I'm not saying it's not super fun to try advanced options. It so is. But sometimes, power yogis, we get so obsessed with that striving, all right, I want to get handstand now. Okay, we want to get scorpion handstand now. And we just start throwing all these things in there and we're doing it and we stay in that and we call ourselves this is my yoga practice, but really you're pushing your body and your body actually starts to get some injuries. That's when it's time to listen. What's your core belief telling you? What's your ego telling you right now? What story's coming up? That if I don't hold this, I'm not a strong person? That if you do take that forward fold as a break or that child's pose as a break, that you should feel shameful about it or you should experience shame because you're a yoga teacher. You should be able to do this. I know as a yoga teacher, sometimes I'll push myself too far on the mat because I'm an experienced yogi, whatever. I'm a yoga teacher. I should be able to do this. But sometimes I need to take the forward fold. And sometimes as a yoga teacher, I feel shame for doing that next to one of my students because I know that they could be, even though they're probably not, watching me. That's a core belief that yours truly is really working through. So some days I say, all right, this is my day, or for 5 minutes in this practice, or 10 minutes in this practice, I'm going to let my body move as it wants and just see how that feels. And then I'll push it. It's a way to start. It's a way to begin. All right, Aparigraha, possessions owning you, gratitude for what you got, letting go of those negative core beliefs that we have, experiencing what are they? And are these core beliefs that maybe a parent told you, a teacher, a coach, a friend group, society, culture? What are you being fed? Is it working for you? If it's not, maybe that's what they mean by letting it go. And the way that you can let it go is maybe on your mat. That's a safe space to do it. So letting your body move freely. Or maybe if you need to hold on to that warrior 2, hold on to it. But start to wonder why you're doing that and what's coming up. That's what yoga is asking us to do. All right. That is the last Yama. Isn't that exciting? It's so exciting. The Yamas and the Niyamas are going to take the longest, and the other ones we're going to kind of cruise through. They're super awesome. look at these core beliefs if you want to. I have a worksheet that has a list of these core beliefs, very common core beliefs. If this is something that you want to work through, I have about 2 spots open in my mental health coaching. So if you want to take a look at that, either DM me on Instagram or laurasiljander.com. Practice compassion, y'all, with your thoughts. This is Aparigraha, core beliefs, with your words and with your actions. Namaste, Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. See ya!